Day 2 of ACC football kickoff at Pinehurst is in the books. Lane Hurt along with Tim Lenefelt, senior writer for Seminoles.com. Day 2 sees a new favorite in the ACC as Clemson is picked to win the conference and the Atlantic Division. Florida State was second in that race. I think Fisher, not surprisingly, had this to say about being the underdog.
When we were the favorite, they didn't give me the trophy at this thing. So we had to go win it. When you're the underdog, they don't give you. They're not giving Clemson the trophy. You know, it's all about how you perceive yourself, I think, and going at it. I mean, it's great to have the expectations, and Clemson deserves it. I think they're a great program. They've had great consistency. Dabo's done a tremendous job, and we'll have our work cut out.
Tim, no surprise. Certainly no one handed Dabo Swinney a championship trophy today. No one handed it to Fisher in the past. But yet it is a different place for this Florida State team to be.
Well, you know, I thought that too, and I said, oh man, it's strange. And you think to yourself, just off the cusp, man, when's the last time Florida State wasn't picked to win the ACC? Well, it actually wasn't all that long ago. Just 2 years ago, in 2013, Clemson was picked to win the ACC. And as you recent historians might know, that worked out okay for Florida State that year. Now, obviously, that doesn't necessarily mean that Florida State's going to go out and win the national championship this year, but it does go to show you that everything is really wide open. I thought that Clemson talked about that, Florida State talked about that. Look, Clemson is happy to be picked to win the league, but they know that it doesn't mean much. Florida State's the same way, and I think as a three-time defending champion, I think Florida State knows what it takes to win the ACC. In fact, I overheard one of the writers today sort of saying that it makes sense to pick Clemson to win it, but at the same time, Florida State still has loads of talent, and Clemson, they still have to prove it. They still have to do it. It's been 3 years since they beat Florida State, and history shows us that they're going to have to do it again this year if they're going to win the league.
Not surprisingly, another big topic of conversation was graduate transfer quarterback Everett Golson. Jimbo also revealed that was a similar situation he was in. He was a transfer quarterback, came in, won the starting job, and he also talked about what it takes in that situation to come in and build the trust of your team. Take a listen.
I think in a short period of time, I think what you have to do is understand how to these people to trust you, that you're not here to be an individual, you're not here to disrupt anything, you just want to be a part of their family and help them have success, and we all do this thing together. And I think you get that by one thing: you put your nose down, you go to work, and you treat people very fairly, and they see that your work ethic, your demeanor, your personality is there to be one of them, not to be above them or anything else there. And do you get acclimated? And people, once they realize that you're there with them and you're walking side by side with them and you're there to help when their success, they usually accept you, and then then you go to play.
It certainly can't hurt to have a coach who understands exactly what the guy's going through, and he had a lot of great things to say about Golson thus far. It
was really insightful and enlightening, Jimbo. Comparing his experience transferring into Samford with Terry Bowden to kind of what Everett Golson is experiencing here. Obviously, it's not complete apples to apples, but at the same time, it's the similar idea of stepping into a new locker room, seeing new faces, seeing new teammates, seeing a quarterback who's there who, quite frankly, you're trying to take their job. That's the way it is in football and in competition. So to be able to relate to that, I think, is a really good thing. And from what we've heard so far, Everett Golson has acclimated himself very well into the Florida State locker room and the Florida State culture. Jimbo Fisher today said that he works his tail off, and then also the other thing I thought was really interesting, as a reporter asked Jimbo if he thought that Everett Golson would just be behind the 8 ball at all, just due to the fact that he's going to be learning a new offense. Other guys, Sean McGuire and JJ Cosentino, have been in Tallahassee, been in the offense for multiple years, and Jimbo said, no, I don't think so. I think he'll do just fine and be able to compete. So I think that's encouraging news, certainly for Everett Golson, but also for Florida State, because as much competition as there can be at that spot, I think it's better for everybody.
You mentioned competition. Another place where there's a lot of that is the secondary, where some young players could have an opportunity to play. I guess we all talked about how confident Jalen Ramsey is. We learned it's very difficult for him to hand out praise, but we learned he's had some praise for some of these young guys in the secondary.
Yeah, and that was kind of funny. That was one line from Jimbo Fisher that drew some laughs. He talked to Jalen about the freshman defensive backs, meaning guys like Derwin James, Marcus Lewis, Tavares McFadden, players that, quite frankly, given the losses in the secondary last year, are going to have an opportunity to play. And Jalen said he thought they were doing well and coming along strong. And Jim said to us, he said, Jalen doesn't compliment anybody, doesn't praise anybody. Joking, of course, but just saying, he's pretty stiff with his praise. And so if these guys are earning his admiration and his respect so early on in their careers, it only means good things.
Well, much more will come from these ACC football kickoff media days. Tim Linefelt will have a lot more on Seminoles.com. We'll also have some video components, some behind-the-scenes stuff of what Roberto and Jalen went through yesterday. And camp, August 5th, opens up. Man. We're going to get really started into the fall camp as Florida State looks to win, what now, a 4th consecutive ACC championship.
Fourth straight.
Well, for Tim Linefelt, I'm Lane Hurt. We'll see you back in Tallahassee.